Alright, so we're going to benchmark today at 1080p, 1440p, and 4K. So starting off with 1080p, we have it on the RTX 4090, the Ryzen 7700x, and then we have the Flare X5 G-Skill RAM that's 32 gigabytes at 5600 megahertz. And yeah, so we get about 100 FPS at max settings with ray tracing on max, and no DLSS or any type of tricks.
Which way is the common room?
I find that the DLSS doesn't really do much at lower resolution, so there's no point testing it. Basically, you're better off playing it with it off. So in this area, you can see the frame rate dips with a lot more action. Still not too bad. It's like 85, 88 with ray tracing. Kind of see just it reflect off the armor.
Don't fall off this time, Nelly.
Get away with anything.
Wait, that's not right. I really thought I had it.
Alright, so we have 1080p with DLSS on and then frame generation. It's kind of a strange way to do it, but I guess you can get more frames by putting DLSS on and using frame generation. It'll actually make your FPS go all the way up to basically 190, almost 200, so that's pretty crazy to see. And it's definitely one option that people can do, or you can just turn all of it off and play at just standard. But you actually get lower frames, which is kind of funny. Alright, so we're running this with ray tracing off now. We get a lot more frames, as you can see. And go to the common room.
Now, which way is the
See
common
the
room?
light and how, well, it's not as vibrant as it is with ray tracing on, that's for sure. But the frame rate's 140. It's dropping as we get into a very busy area.
They're lucky they didn't end up as dragon food, like that poor man from the ministry. Can't imagine starting music.
Here, the light looks pretty good still. It's less glowy like than with ray tracing on, but it still looks good, honestly. Get close to this thing and kind of see its reflections. There's not really much going on, honestly. Alright, so this is 1440p with ray tracing on with no DLSS. And it's pretty good, almost 95 to 100 frames, so it's a lot better than, well, 4K, but yeah, it's not bad, 91. It's a pretty good number. Then we can kind of see what it looks like in the common room.
I would really like someone to try
And
it.
yeah. Alright, so I have DLSS on with quality settings, and honestly there's almost no change. The FPS is like the same without
I would really like
DLSS on, so really there's no reason to turn it on at maximum quality settings because it's not really giving you any performance improvements. Now we turn frame generation on and your FPS basically just doubles, which is kind of crazy. So now we have 2 times the amount of frames at 180 FPS, which is pretty crazy, honestly. That's a lot of frames you can get out of the game, which is
I would really like
kind of
someone
insane,
try
to be
it.
honest. So that's good to see, nice to see. Alright, so now we're playing at 4K at max ray tracing. So take a look. You get about 60 frames per second, which is, I guess, barely playable in some people's standards, or perfectly playable. So it gets to 55 over here. It's definitely a little, you know, just on the edge of 60, which means it's basically perfect. Of course, with DLSS on and all the other stuff, we will definitely get a lot more kind of tricks that we can use. So walking in this room, see all the panels,
It'll be the next
light in the sky. You can even see some of the reflections in the armor. So yeah, overall it looks pretty good, and we get about at 60 frames per second with this. Alright, with DLSS on quality, so we have some frame generation going. We get about 50% more frames, so we go from 60 to 90. So that's a lot more better kind of frame, so it's a lot higher FPS, so it's pretty good. And of course, this is kind of the normal frame generation. The next one we'll test is with I guess the extra frame generation that it has, which will boost our FPS even more in 4K. But here we get around 90, sometimes it goes up to 100 depending on the area we're at. So yeah, not too bad. Alright, now we're playing with ray tracing, max dlss and quality, and then with frame generation on. So we're getting basically double the FPS, maybe a little bit more than double the FPS that we had at base, so that's pretty good. So you basically get a 100% increase from kind of no DLSS on at all. So it's definitely a marked improvement, especially with certain screens that could play 120 FPS at 4K gaming. So you could do this. Of course, some people may argue that this is fake frames that are being generated, but yep, you can hit 120 FPS. Anyways, if you guys found this helpful, please like and subscribe down below. Helps my videos out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.